Kevin Ball's first sign is very similar to Mick McCarthy's last. The caretaker manager giving the current occupiers of the shirts the first opportunity to impress him, the one exception being at centre-half, where Gary Breen's suspension sees a recall and the captain's armband for Steve Caldwell. 8 of the 11 and all the subs were signed by McCarthy, including John Stead, who never scored for the man who bought him. Wigan are unchanged from the side, beaten in dramatic circumstances by Manchester United on Monday. Stefan Onsho's knee injury prevents his return, while Pollitt, Connolly and McMillan all remain on the sidelines. Jimmy Bullard plays his 150th match for Wigan and continues his record of featuring in every league game since he joined the club. Two sides who played each other last season in the Championship, of course. Sunderland finished significantly higher in terms of points than Wigan. And I think that's why they find it so disappointing that they start today's game so far behind them in the table. Wigan have 4 times as many points as Sunderland in the Premiership this season.
Well, there's certainly no way out for Sunderland now. I'm afraid they're doomed, but certainly a big afternoon for Kevin Ball. Put his hat in the ring for the vacant manager's job. A player that showed tremendous leadership qualities as a player and very, very popular here at the Stadium of Light. Could be a good choice, but up against a Wigan side that got a terrific record away from home. Half a dozen wins. Only Manchester United and Chelsea beat that.
Caldwell. Towards Kevin Kyle, who was beaten by Paul Sharner. He's already developed a reputation for being a good goal-scoring centre-half. It's Lee McCulloch that is hurt. He's okay. Been a meteoric rise for Kevin Ball. He was only the assistant manager of the club's academy prior to Mick McCarthy's departure, but such has been his charisma and his leadership qualities as a player that he was the choice to take over for the last 10 games of the season.
We've mentioned good signings. I mean, this fella that just played the ball into Graham Kavanagh there's been a pretty good one, Sharner. Versatile, play at the back, play in the middle of the park. Comes up with a goal or two.
Kavanagh there caught by Grant Ledbetter. The youngsters in the Sunderland side playing in the centre of midfield alongside Whitehead. By McCulloch, Nosworthy with a touch. Oh, what a sensational goal! That's the difference between these two sides this season at this level. A half mistake by Nosworthy and Camara turned onto it in a flash with one of the most brilliant strikes of the season.
Well, talk about getting punished, not half. This is an absolutely sensational strike. You won't see a better finish than this season. This is absolutely fantastic. Just route one, McCulloch coming in for the left-hand side, which is good at. But what about that shot? Absolutely fantastic. McCulloch wins the header, knocks it down, doesn't quite get clear. He hits it in the half volley, top left-hand corner. Absolutely no chance whatsoever for Kelvin Davis. An absolutely sensational strike.
So 8 minutes into Kevin Ball's reign here at Sunderland, and he finds his side trailing by a goal to nil. New man at the helm, but unfortunately, as far as Sunderland are concerned, it's not a whole new ball game yet. Still, the Sunderland fans very audible in their protests about Chairman Murray. Of course, those protests just a little bit more weight by the fact that Sunderland already trailing to that 8th minute goal from Henri Camara.
It's all about funds getting not be made available for Mick McCarthy. But as we said earlier, I mean, what do? You get in a situation like Leeds United, getting in real trouble, numerous other clubs as well, spending money that you've not got. Difficult one for any chairman.
despite McCulloch's protests. There's a Sunderland ball, and with the acquisition of Rory Delap, they also have a new weapon in their armoury because he possesses a really decent long throw. An awkward bounce, which might set up nicely for Julio Arca. Appeals for handball from the Wigan defenders, then from the Sunderland strikers. Wigan able to bring it forward. Bullard's touch, though, fell between the two strikers ahead of him.
Yeah, long throw with Delap there, causing a few problems. Kyle in the centre of the box. Fights for everything, Kyle. Missed the throw, thrown not too badly for Arca. Just couldn't get his shot away.
Up by Kyle, but given away. Well, there are a couple of shouts for handball inside that penalty area. Mike Riley unmoved by both of them. Here's McCulloch. Ledbetter to put the challenge in. Away by Nosworthy. Young midfielder Ledbetter just giving the free kick away. Had a spell on loan at Rotherham earlier this season. He made his Premiership debut last month. The 19 midfielder for England, and certainly a young man with a very bright future ahead of him. Swinging free kick from Bullard, easily cleared. Roberts. Fell for Wigan again. They're winning all the second ball at the moment.
Yeah, I think Collins has been injured quite badly in this challenge as well. Jason Roberts just having a word with the referee to stop play now. It's a brave challenge in the box. Jason Roberts just about to have a pot at goal. A last-ditch tackle by Collins, injured in the process. And then at the other end, it's a great clearance by Collins here. I think the ball just skips up a bit here. Sunderland looking for a penalty in this. As he hit it against Teal's hand. Off Kavanagh, I'm not so sure. I think Mike Riley gets that one correct.
Nosworthy couldn't get himself into a position to shoot. And Wigan will try and break quickly, but it's picked up by Ledbetter. Good ball forward for Elliott. Couldn't get the purchase behind the shot that he needed.
He's unlucky because it's a good ball through and he makes a good run in behind the Zoo here. Gets away from him, but can't really get anything on the shot here. It's a good pass and he gets away from the Zoo here. Just can't get any power on the shot.
Not able to make any headway, but there was a foul by Gary Teal.
Talented player, Julio Arca, facing another season in the Championship. He's a player I'd imagine that Sunderland might have a bit of difficulty hanging on to. A lot of admirers.
In very deep from Ledbetter, and it caused problems. The flag is up though. The ball hit the inside of the post. It wouldn't have counted, and John Filan, I don't know whether he collided with his head on the post or whether it was his ribs, but he's certainly in some distress, and of course having real injury problems with goalkeepers at the moment, with former Sunderland keeper Mike Pollitt injured in the Carling Cup final, and that was a nasty knock that Filan picked up there.
Yeah, it's just a collision at the back post there. I think he overhits this free kick as well. Then all of a sudden I guess feeling a problem here. It's Kevin Kyle, a collision at the back post. Is it the post or Kyle? Nevertheless, he's and some discomfort.
Well, Alex Cribley, the Wigan physio and former Wigan player, has patched up John Filan to a certain extent. And the Australian will continue for now. Still clearly shaken.
Well, I think Paul Jewell will be delighted to see his goalkeeper back up and in the action again, and I think he'll be delighted with the results so far, because they really haven't played yet, Wigan. It's just been that phenomenal strike with Camara.
Chimbonda and Teal trying to link up, but Gary Teal has let the ball run over the line.
Yeah, he doesn't need any encouragement to get forward. Chimbonda, terrific signing with Paul Jewell, a huge favourite at the JJB. Made sure they signed a new extension to his contract of late. Not surprised. His performances in the Premiership this season have been terrific.
Famously been linked with a move to Bayern Munich at one stage.
Well, I think the way he was playing, it's no surprise. I think one or two other clubs have been sniffing around as well. Paul Jewell knows that. Got together with his chairman, backs him financially all the time, getting a longer contract.
He spent £10 million since the end of last season at Wigan, and only recouped £3.5 million, so it's been a net outlay of £6.5 million since they won promotion.
He spent it brilliantly, and apart from that, players you're never quite sure whether they'll adjust to Premiership football. People like Jimmy Bullard, Leighton Baines, but both of them have been terrific.
Delap, clever dummy by Kynes, he let it run for Elliott, and on the turn he wasn't too far away. Good save from John Filan.
Well, he scutters across his goal, he gets his fingertips to this one, Filan here. We already had one wonder goal, and you look at another there. I mean, there looks absolutely nothing on. He's back to goal, ball up in the air. That's that right footed, it's a terrific effort. It might have been in off the underside of the crossbar. Filan just tips it over.
Sunderland's second corner missed by Bullard at the near post, but there was another push. Free kick to Wigan, and the first Sunderland corner came to nothing because of a push inside the penalty area, and the second one has gone the same way. Mike Riley being spoken to by Rory Delap.
Yeah, some of the Sunderland players not too happy here. Stephen Colwell once again having a little go at Mike Riley. He didn't see anything wrong.
Whitehead. And his header, Teal in a much more central position this time. Shana there, ahead of Kevin Kyle, and now Pascal Chimbonda able to pick it up. A real footballing defender. Exudes confidence whenever he's in possession. Camara, who's been largely anonymous with the exception of that sensational goal. Mosworthy. Whitehead. Set to go down as one of Mick McCarthy's best signings, Dean Whitehead. Involved again in the build-up as he finds Elliott. McCartney to his left. Arca able to run around the ball and get some angle on the cross, and it's held down for Delap. Saved by Filan. Still, Wigan's lead remains intact, but very nearly a way back into the game supplied. A man making his home debut.
Well, very, very close to getting the equaliser there, Sunderland. Plenty of possession, getting plenty of the ball into the Wigan box.
Forward from McCartney towards the lap again. It's offside, doesn't count. Kevin Kyle only now realising that that's not the equalising goal.
Well, the lap tried to return the favour there to Kevin Kyle, but it's the offside decision here that Kevin Kyle does ever so well with the aerial threat he's got. This is the offside decision. Assistant referee correct, although it's a terrific finish with Kevin Kyle, although it doesn't count. The one that gets disallowed, Kevin Kyle does ever so well again to flick it down to Delap, who adjusts his feet really well, gets the shot on target, but good goalkeeping by John Phelan.
Since he picked up that injury, when he clattered into both Kevin Kyle and the post, he's made a couple of very important saves. Bullard.
I mean, really, Wigan have been non-existent as an attacking force. I think Sunderland are a bit fortunate to be behind in this game. I mean, there wasn't a great deal they could do about the goal. Such a wonderful strike.
Somebody pulled back there by Elliott. Ball then kicked away, and that might anger referee Riley. Jimmy Arker is the player that's been spoken to. He's actually been sent off against Wigan in the past, Arker. A very controversial red card at that, his second yellow that day, picked up for diving. He's got the lap outside him. Four for him to try and hit in the centre. Amongst them, Whitehead, whose ball across the face of goal caused all kinds of problems, and it will be another corner.
Yeah, I tell you, Gary Teal does ever so well here defending his penalty box. Once again, it's good forward play by Sunderland, putting a lot of pressure on this Wigan defence. It's the overhead kick that nearly gets him into trouble, but Teal alert at the back post.
Towards the near post by Ledbetter. Here's another half chance. And they just couldn't quite get the purchase that was required on it. Fell to Caldwell, off balance. In from Nosworthy, good ball as well. And a good piece of defensive covering by De Zeu.
Well, they're certainly having to work the central defenders for Wigan. A lot of balls coming in, particularly from this right-hand side. Got another one to deal with here with Delap's long throw. Well, somebody might be requiring a bit of treatment.
Yeah, it's Kevin Kyle that's just picked up another knock, and it's not a recurrence of the hip injury that he's been suffering with. Long throw from Delap. Off the top of De Zeu's head, just got caught underneath the ball a little. Chimbonda able to clear his lines.
I think Kevin Kyle's unsettled him a bit in there. Is it right to say, Jim? Great pity for to go off injuries. He's had a horrible time with injuries over the last couple of seasons. I think he's unsettled the Wigan central defenders today. Certainly with his aerial ability, a player with terrific attitude.
Nice touch by Teal to Bullard, who took it well. Now Jason Roberts, Camara. Good advantage played again by referee Riley. Teal's delivery, a disappointing one. That's been a real rarity, Wigan having possession, albeit only fleetingly, inside the final third of Sunderland.
Well, they haven't had a shot of note apart from the Camara goal. I mean, there was no danger at the time anyway. Sunderland player's in a decent position. He's leaning back, ball's mid-air, he's in the corner of the 18-yard box. Next thing, he's hit an absolutely sensational goal.
Baines. It was a poor clearance, but he certainly wasn't helped by some very erratic bounce that the ball took, not once but twice, just in front of him as he was preparing to try and get it upfield. And Ledbetter's industry wins a throw off Leighton Baines.
Well, Sunderland's an industry in general, it's been pinning Wigan back, and particularly people like Baines that likes to get forward on this left-hand side, and Chambonda on the right. Not seen a great deal of them getting forward. In fact, we haven't seen them at all getting forward, simply because they're getting pinned back and having to defend for most of this half.
Elliott's done well. Arca. That was a very difficult opportunity for him.
Yeah, and he's under a bit of pressure for Chambonda as well. I mean, it's a terrific ball in. Try to adjust himself at the back post. Got to hit this perfect. Stretching a bit.
I can remember the Sunderland squad that was relegated back in 2003 with the lowest ever points tally of 19. It's still the mark that they're trying to beat this year. It has to be said that Mick McCarthy did see his side built so well, having had that torrid season in the Premiership. He didn't come back at the first attempt, but came close to it, getting into the playoffs. Here's Camara for Wigan. He's already scored one sensational goal, but couldn't replicate the finish that time.
Well, after his last strike, that goes down as a bad miss. That's only their second shot in the game. Still 2 shots, 1 goal. Not bad stats.
Wigan might be ahead, but I'm sure that Paul Jewell won't be happy with a few of the things that he's seen, and they certainly appear to be exchanging a few words with Jason Roberts a few moments ago. Caldwell. Peeling off into a wider position, and he's turned it in intelligently. Deseu, they're ahead of Elliott. In from McCartney this time. More appeals for a penalty. More in hope than expectation, you tend to gather, really. It was Dean Whitehead, really, the Sunderland players that did appeal for it. Into the closing seconds of the first half, which will be followed by 2 minutes of stoppage time. In from Delap. Nosworthy. Final was at full stretch. Ledbitter. Onside. Another good save from Feiland to deny Kyle. Arca. Back in from McCartney. Into stoppage time. Sunderland still can't find a way back onto level terms, but they certainly deserve one. They have a corner. They should have had an equaliser. Kevin Carl's had one chalked off for offside. And this one brilliantly saved by John Feiland.
Well, probably deserved one as well. Kevin Kyle really unlucky once again there. First and foremost, Shannon getting the ball up. The ball comes back into the box.
Ledbitter's corner dealt with by Sharner. And the long-range effort from George McCartney, likely to supply his first ever senior goal for Sunderland, but Kevin Kyle very nearly did score.
Well, it's been the story of their season, I'm afraid. Just can't score goals. I mean, you're looking at Dean Whitehead, top goal scorer and 3 Premiership goals. Just nothing happening in front of goal for Sunderland. Been really unfortunate this first half. Fell behind to a fantastic Camara goal and really should have had an equaliser. This fell in particular, Kyle, who's gave the Wigan central defenders a real uncomfortable first 45 minutes.
Well, it would have stood had John Feiland not made the save, but I think Paul Jewell and Wigan might have had cause for complaint, because it certainly looked a very close offside call. Roberts wins the wrestling match this time. Opportunity late in the half for Wigan to get the bodies forward again. It's the cue for Deseu and Sharner both to make their way to the edge of the area. In fact, Sunderland are going to make the change right at the end of the first half, and it's because of an injury to Julio Arca and aggravation to his hamstring. Means that Arca is replacing the closing seconds of the first half, and he will be replaced by Liam Lawrence, affectionately known in these parts as Lenny, another Mick McCarthy signing. Off the bench and Almost certainly without the time to touch the ball before the half-time whistle goes. In from Bullard. What a save! Lee McCulloch forcing a great save out of Kelvin Davis with just about the last touch of the first half. Had it been 2-0, that surely would have been that.
Well, that would have been cruel if it had been 2-0, but it's terrible marking here by the Sunderland defenders. Good delivery with Bullard, great strike, and a terrific stop with Kelvin Davis.
Today's match sponsor is Goalkeeper.
Very important save by Kelvin Davis right at the end of the first half, which Wigan lead by a goal to nil. They don't really deserve the advantage. Henri Camara's 8th minute goal, a moment of absolutely sublime skill, capitalising on the mistake by Nyron Nosworthy. Sunderland will feel very hard done by, and it's been a good first 45 minutes under Kevin Ball. Sunderland 0, Wigan 1, the half-time score. Second half underway. Room for improvement for Wigan, despite the fact that they lead. Kevin Ball, I would imagine, in his first half-time team talk, just have told his players more of the same, and with a bit of luck, you will get something out of this game. Don't deserve to be behind, far from it.
Yeah, I think Kevin Ball would have been pretty happy with the first 45 minutes, particularly two strikers. I think they've been excellent. Kevin Kyle's aerial ability unsettled at Wigan, and the movement of Elliott's been first class up front, whereas Roberts and Camara really haven't got into the game, although the service hasn't been brilliant. But of course Camara supplying and scoring the important goal. And what a goal.
Baines. Very awkward delivery in the opening minute of the second half. Sharla kept it in. Bullard. Clever pass for Teal. Kavanagh.
That's a tactic William like to use, switching play at the back post areas for McCulloch when he's playing on that left-hand side. Started off as a striker, good aerial ability. Good leap at the back post there.
There's a Wigan free kick this time. By Kevin Kyle. Nice free kick. Not for Jason Roberts, but Sunderland able to clear their lines with Liam Lawrence. Certainly been a more assured start to the second half from Wigan. They've had more possession than they did in the majority of the first half. Paul Jewell and Chris Hutchings had some pretty stern words for the players at half-time. Do have a very good record away from home against sides in the bottom half of the table, winning 5 of 7 previous encounters this season against clubs who are currently in the bottom half away from home.
Well, I mean, they're safe now, Wigan, but Paul Jewell wants a bit more than that. I mean, his seasons went so well now, they're talking about Europe. It's been an absolutely outstanding season. For me, well, manager of the year so far.
Here's McCulloch, and a sharp chance for Roberts, which he couldn't direct on target.
He thinks he's just done better there, Jason Roberts, a little bit disappointed with that.
Caldwell. Made by Baines. The game going through just a stagnant period at the moment. David Thompson poised to come on for Wigan. Recent signing from Blackburn, who scored in his debut against Middlesbrough earlier this season, and predominantly a central midfielder, of course, so interesting to see whether it's Kavanagh or Bullard who makes way. Towards Roberts. Sharner came to meet the ball and it was cleverly nudged away from him by Elliott. Here's Kyle. Looking not to add so far this afternoon to his first Premiership goal last weekend against Manchester City. Recovering from Sharner. Substitution is going to be made by Wigan, and in fact it's going to be Gary Teale who will make way for Thompson. Scotland's newest international to be replaced by David Thompson, who's only been a bit part player this season for Blackburn, hence his free transfer move to Wigan. He missed the recent cup runs because he was cup tied, David Thompson. Sunderland unable to make the most of pressure inside the Wigan penalty area, with Whitehead and Lawrence both in good positions.
Yeah, it's a long throw once again for the lad that causes a few problems. Kevin Kyle, little flick on Whitehead with the overhead kick, nearly falls into the path of Lawrence.
A few times this afternoon. Into the last quarter of an hour. Elliott. Zayu in the right place again. Here's Thompson.
Well, I mean, they haven't played well, Wigan, but I tell you what, they have been resilient at the back, really stood their ground. Zayu, Sharner, a lot of experience there, two great competitors. Just making sure the Sunderland chances are kept to a minimum.
Caldwell. Sunderland have shown resilience of their own at the back.
I've been impressed with the two central defenders today. Caldwell back in the side of skipper, wants to be enjoying it. Collins did really well alongside him.
This is the first corner that Sunderland have conceded in the second half so far.
Ziegler is going to swing this one in left-footed. Quite often look for the head of the Zoo here. Quite often he gets his head to them.
Bullard offered himself for the short corner, instead it's fired in. Too close to the near post and away by Whitehead. Ziegler the quickest to react. Camara. Still made the most telling contribution this afternoon. Ziegler's cross is blocked. Talek can't keep possession. Davis read the situation very well.
So Camara hasn't done much else today in this game. Won't have to remember for that goal. We've seen that goal plenty of times the rest of this season. It's not one of his better performances. Kept well in check the two central defenders, as has Roberts.
On the roof of the net from Stephen Elliott, who's certainly giving it his all this afternoon. Paul Jewell not happy at the space and time that Stephen Elliott was given. Sunderland still have the opportunity to make one more change, and John Stead still waiting in the wings, Gordon.
Yeah, but it's had a very disappointing season. I mean, you're looking for goals. He's not been the answer this season. You look at Camara and Roberts, their contribution this season in terms of Premiership goals. You look at maybe Andy Gray, Stead. Disappointing goals tally.
Well, the bounce was awkward. Filan came out. Baines will be able to get it away. In fact, he's won the goal kick. John Filan came out, and then the ball just sat up with a really awkward bounce for him.
Yeah, I think he was expected to skip through to him, but then he had to run right outside his box and head it clear. So you see Jimbo sits up rather than skips forward. Gave him a bit of a problem that he dealt with pretty well.
Left for Sunderland to start. Kevin Ball's reign as caretaker manager with some form of positive result. And still, over the balance of play over the whole 90 minutes, they do deserve an equaliser. Wigan points to make their final change with Andreas Johansson, the player that is getting ready. Caldwell. Kyle. Ledbitter. And the deflection. That's kept him very well by Filan. Would have been a corner. And John Filan did well.
Would have been interesting to see where that ended up. Doesn't hit the defender there. Seemed to strike that well, Ledbitter.
Giving Stephen Elliott the sniff of a freakish equaliser. Swedish international Andreas Johansson will come on to replace Henri Camara. Johansson, who's actually scored 3 goals in his last 3 matches and scored twice in his last Premiership appearance against Tottenham. And he comes on with 8 minutes plus stoppage time.
Well, I think Paul Jewell just want to hold on to what he's got now. 3 points. Maybe play 5 in the middle of the park. Let Roberts go alone up front.
Thompson. Chimbonda towards Jason Roberts. He's had a fruitless afternoon, really, legging the line. Sharma getting involved in a wrestling match with Kevin Kyle, who has conceded the free kick and is now going to get a yellow card for dissent.
Well, dissent. He's just shown a bit of displeasure at the decision there, isn't it? I mean, he's been a fair old battle all afternoon with Sharma. Two great competitors there. He's tussling for the ball. Kyle not happy with the decision going against him. He's complained about a few earlier in the game. Ends up with a booking.
John Stead will be on in a moment. Just wonder if the script is written. He failed to score under Mick McCarthy. Just wonder whether he might be able to run away in his first match since McCarthy's departure. Caldwell. Elliott. McCartney. Given away by Letalic. Hansen to Bullard. Roberts. Chimbonda's in space on the Wigan right, and Thompson has played him in quite brilliantly. Roberts is in the centre for him. And some good defending from Collins made sure that the ball didn't find Jason Roberts. He might have work to do again here. Chimbonda once more. And again, it's Collins that he picks out. Sunderland looking battle-weary now. Bullard. Johansson. For Wigan to hang on. The lead not looking fragile at the moment. Reto Ziegler has done brilliantly. Good defending though by Ledbetter. Had to make sure that he won the ball cleanly there, and the youngster did very well.
That was a brilliant tackle there. Looks as though Ziegler just going to pick his spot there. His left foot. Wonderful bit of defending.
Stephen Elliott makes way, and he will be replaced by John Stead. Without a goal in his last 29 matches and with only 2 in his last 54 Premiership games, Mick McCarthy's biggest signing, ultimately never scored for the man that brought him to Wearside. There's actually a comparison made in the matchday programme today between Stead and another player who arrived in Sunderland in a blaze of glory about 20 years ago, the striker Tom Ritchie from Bristol City, who struggled to make any impact. There was a change at the helm, and he scored a hat-trick in his first game under caretaker manager Mick Doherty. It's far too late for Stead to score a hat-trick, but will he be able to rescue a point? 3.5 minutes plus probably 3 minutes to be added on. There are a lot of substitutions in this second half. A mistake by McCartney. Thompson couldn't quite capitalise. More good covering from Collins, who's an excellent game. Sunderland just struggling to make the ball stick at the moment. Hanson's touch over his shoulder, not followed up by Bullard. There's Liam Lawrence for Sunderland. Chimbonda there ahead of Stead. And Thompson calmly guiding it back to John Filer. Wigan hadn't got won 6 games without a league win since January 2002. This would be their 6th. Looks as though they're going to be able to hold on. Sunderland, for the changes in personnel in the second half, have been devoid of ideas pushing forward really in the last half hour or so. Yeah, and I think the fans think that as well. They're leaving in their droves now. They don't believe their side's going to get back into the game. But once again, over 50,000 here at the stadium tonight. Magnificent stadium. But it's going to be championship football here next season, I'm afraid. McCulloch, back for Baines. Playing with Latanic, and it's picked up again by Thompson. Elliott incidentally making away because of a hamstring strain, just a slight aggravation of his hamstring. Jose appealed for offside against Kyle, but Shana played him well onside. Here's Liam Lawrence. Half chance, good save! Well, you expected the ball to be bundled in by John Stead, but he just couldn't quite direct it the right side of the post. Well, that's the story of his season. I mean, Whitehead gets onto this, feeling stretched, and it's a good save, good ball in from the right. Good technique there by Whitehead. Just agonisingly wide for John Stead. Just not happening for the lad in the Sunderland shirt. Great opportunity there to get his side a point. Just slides past the post. And it's just not happening for Sunderland in front of goal today, or any other day for that matter, this season. Some of the players been decent, particularly in the first half, but couldn't finish it off. Not been a great Wigan performance. Resilient at the back, very poor going forward. Although we did see one of the best goals we've seen all season. Camara strike in the first half, magnificent. We've got another terrific 3 points for Wigan if it finishes like this. And they have only 2 minutes of stoppage time to hold on. Whitehead almost provided something for John Stead. Lawrence. Be able to create one more opportunity. Here's Lawrence, and he's won a corner. Just about everybody forward for Sunderland. Last ditch attempt to try and glean a point. John Filan's safe handling surely denies them once and for all. More vociferous complaints from the Sunderland supporters. Chairman Bob Murray. Yeah, not at the game today, Bob Murray. Maybe a wise decision, just antagonise the fans with everything that's going on at this moment in time. But you can't spend what you've not got. Nosworthy. Whitehead. Change at the helm, but no change of fortune for Sunderland. Beaten again, their 23rd defeat of the Premiership season in only 29 games. But Kevin Ball's men could so easily have won this. They had chances in the first half. John Stead had a chance to equalise in the last minute. That went wide. Sunderland's chances went west, and Wigan have hung on. An unconvincing performance, with a victory coming thanks to a magnificent 8th-minute goal from Camara that always looked as though it might be enough. Full time, Sunderland 0, Wigan 1.
Well, Paul, you got the victory, but you have played better this season. Is that a fair assessment?
It's a good job. We've played better than that this season. We beat bottom of the league. We were terrible today. Keeper was magnificent. But in between, we didn't play very well. There's no rhyme or reason to this game. We played great against United. On Monday, came away with nothing. We played terrible today. You know, Sunderland, give them credit. They pushed us all away. And we're fortunate winners today.
Well, Kevin, it seems as though it's the same old story. Sunderland playing well, certainly deserving something out of the game, ending up with nothing.
Yeah, possibly. It was disappointing. We created a lot of chances. Unfortunately, didn't hit the back of the net. The one goal they did get was an absolute worldie. I remember thinking after 7 or 8 minutes when they scored it, could have done without that one today. But these things happen. I've just gone and said to the players, listen, you've created chances. Keep your heads held high. Walk out of here light and just say, right, we work for Bolton on Monday.
Well, Harry, is there a feeling that you deserve that after not getting what you deserved on Monday?
Yeah, I don't think Sunderland will share that. But I think against Man U we deserved something out of the game and should have probably got something out of the game. Didn't get it. Today was the other way around. Fantastic goal by Camara, but I have to say Sunderland made us work tremendously hard for it.
Well, Steve, well played. Shame about the result from a Sunderland perspective, but that's just been typical of your season, really, not getting what you deserve.
Yeah, I mean, really disappointing to lose the game. We had enough chances to win the game, at least get a draw. But it's disappointing to do so well, but not put the ball in the back of the net and lose to a class goal, which, you know, if he probably hits it another 20 times, we'll never score.
We started the game all right, you know, we scored a wonderful goal, and after that we just took our foot off the gas, really. We just seemed to sit back, and, you know, as I said, you have to give Sunderland credit, and they kept pushing us, and our keepers made some vital saves at vital times. And, you know, as I said, sometimes you can just sneak away from the games, a little bit embarrassed to win, but I'm fed up with people telling us how good the side we are this season and beating us. So, although that's our first our first win in 8 games, I think the only game we're really out of those where we didn't turn up might have been a cup final.
So Wigan beat Sunderland by 1-0 at the Stadium of Light.